Hello, everyone, and welcome to another lesson here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Catherine, and today we have an elementary level lesson all about life with a roommate.
That's right. So sometimes during college, you have to live with a roommate because, living alone is too expensive.
Also, after college, I know that a lot of people who are just starting their jobs often live with their roommate to save some money.
That's right. Or maybe your girlfriend could be considered kind of like your romantic roommate.
I hope not in the sense of today's lesson. We're talking about problems with a roommate. So let's listen to this dialogue and we'll be back in a moment.
Charlie, do you have a second?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I went and paid the bills today, and you still haven't given me your half.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. I agreed we would go halves on all the bills, but frankly, I think it's unfair.
Unfair? Why?
Well, you have long hair and use the hairdryer every morning. I don't. You leave your computer on all night downloading torrents. I don't. You see what I'm getting at here?
You leave the air conditioner on day and night. You also take 30-minute showers, which means you're using way more gas and water than me.
Well, while we're on the subject, stop bringing your friends over for drinks every weekend. You always leave a mess and keep me up all night.
Maybe you should just move out and find another place.
Maybe you should move out.
All right, we're back. So we have a couple of different words that we're going to take a look at now in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
So the first word is a dreaded word. That means that most people don't like it. They fear it. This is bills.
That's right. You have to pay your bills. So a bill is the paper that tells you how much you have to pay.
That's right. So you can have a gas bill,
An electricity bill,
a cable bill.
or even at the restaurant, you ask for the bill.
All right, so this is the amount of money you need to pay.
That's right.
And usually at the end of the month, you receive many, many bills in the mail, and you have to pay the companies like the gas company and the electricity company.
That's right. So those are bills. Singular would be a bill. Okay.
And so this is how the argument starts. The two roommates decide that they have to pay the bills, but they don't want to split the bills in half, go halves. They have to pay their own. And
Right.
so one person says, listen, this isn't fair. You leave your computer on all night downloading torrents.
Okay. So we understand what it is to download something. You download this podcast, but a torrent, what is that? That's kind of technical.
That is. So a torrent is a kind of file that you can download from the internet. So basically, when you want to download a movie or some music from the internet, you go to a website that will connect you to someone who owns this movie or book or music, and they'll have a special file that's called a torrent file, and that's what you download.
That's right. So it's a new way of downloading files off the internet from many people, kind of like a peer sharing.
That's right. So when one person disappears or goes offline, it shares you with another person.
That's right. So those are torrents. And now, well, they kept arguing about you have to pay this, I have to pay that. So you said, you know what? You should just move out.
Ooh. So to move out, this is a phrase that has two words. To move out, it means to leave this house forever, this apartment. So that means to find a new place to live.
Right. So I can say, oh, I'm moving out this weekend. That means I'm changing apartments.
Right. Or my boyfriend just moved out.
Okay, so that
That was
means
really sad.
he left your house. Okay, so that is to move out. And now we have a word that is more colloquial of how to say a house or an apartment.
This is place. Okay.
So you just say a place.
So place normally is a location. Okay. Where is this place? But we could say, hey, we're going to have dinner at my place. Would you like to come?
So that means we're going to have dinner at my house.
Right. My place.
My
His
place.
place.
His place. Or you have a really nice place.
Thanks.
Okay, so that means you have a really nice house.
Exactly.
Okay, so 4 keywords today. Why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Charlie, do you have a second?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I went and paid the bills today, and you still haven't given me your half.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. I agreed we would go halves on all the bills, but frankly, I think it's unfair.
Unfair? Why?
Well, you have long hair and use the hairdryer every morning. I don't. You leave your computer on all night downloading torrents. I don't. You see what I'm getting at here?
You leave the air conditioner on day and night. You also take 30-minute showers, which means you're using way more gas and water than me.
Well, while we're on the subject, stop bringing your friends over for drinks every weekend. You always leave a mess and keep me up all night.
Maybe you should just move out and find another place.
Maybe you should move out.
All right, we are back, and we've got some great phrases today coming up in Fluency Builders. Let's take a look at some of those.
Fluency Builder.
All right, so the first phrase that we have, very common, very, very common, but also very difficult for English learners to answer this question.
All right, what's up?
What's up? So if somebody says, what's up, what does that mean?
That means, what's going on? What's new? How are you? How is it going?
Okay.
Hi.
So how should you answer this?
Okay, so think of what's up as being a question about what's new, what's happening. You can say, what's up? Oh, not much.
Not much.
Okay, what's up means what's new? Oh, not much is new. Not much.
Everything is the same.
Or what's up? You could say, hey, hi, how are you? It's another way to say hi.
Okay.
But you can't say the sky.
Right. Or sometimes English learners will say, fine, thank you, because they think that what's up means how are you?
No, that's different. So you cannot say fine, thank you, fine, well. These are words about that answer how are you questions, but this isn't a how are you question.
Right.
This is a what's new question.
Yeah.
What's new or hi.
Okay. So somebody says, what's up? You can say not much, or you can say, hey, what's up? You can say, what's up back?
What's up? What's up with you?
Yeah, what's up with you? Okay, so that's our first phrase. Now, when the guy was talking about the hairdryer and the computer, he finished off that paragraph by saying, you see what I'm getting at here?
Okay, you're doing this. You use the hairdryer. You leave the computer on. Do you see what I'm getting at here? This phrase, do you see what I'm getting at?
It means, do you understand what I'm talking about? Do you see my point?
That means I haven't said exactly what I mean, but you should understand what I'm saying. So he's saying you're wasting electricity. You use all of these services more than I do.
Right.
And we could say, maybe Marco didn't get a good grade in his English test last week. And I say, listen, maybe it has to do with your study habits or how much you love video games or how little time you spend at school. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Okay, so you're not saying directly that I don't study. You're
Right.
just telling me the reasons maybe why as to why I'm not studying.
Right, like a hint.
Okay, so that's what you say when you don't tell somebody directly what the problem is. You say, you see what I'm getting at here?
Do you see what I'm getting at?
Okay.
Getting at means hinting.
Okay, and our last phrase, when they kept talking about the bills, one of the persons said, you are using way more gas and water than me. So what about this way more?
Way more. Way means much or a lot. So we could say, you are using a lot more water than I am. Or, you're using way more water.
Okay.
This is very spoken language. This is not written language, so don't write this down on your tests. But way more means a lot more, much more.
Okay, you can say Bob is way more attractive than Bill.
That's right. Or this is way more interesting than that show.
Okay, so you can say way more instead of much more or a lot more, but it's usually spoken English.
Exactly.
All right, let's listen to our dialogue for the last time, and we'll be back in a bit to talk a little bit more.
Charlie, do you have a second?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I went and paid the bills today, and you still haven't given me your half.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. I agreed we would go halves on all the bills, but frankly, I think it's unfair.
Unfair? Why?
Well, you have long hair and use the hairdryer every morning. I don't. You leave your computer on all night downloading torrents. I don't. You see what I'm getting at here?
You leave the air conditioner on day and night. You also take 30-minute showers, which means you're using way more gas and water than me.
Well, while we're on the subject, stop bringing your friends over for drinks every weekend. You always leave a mess and keep me up all night.
Maybe you should just move out and find another place.
Maybe you should move out.
So, Marco, have you ever had any of these problems with a roommate?
I've actually stayed away from roommates because of issues like this.
You mean you have not had many roommates because you're afraid of this situation?
Yeah, I've always actually tried to live on my own by myself, like in a small apartment or studio, or if I have to have a roommate, maybe just like one, not like a house full of roommates, because I think the more people there are, the little bit more complicated it gets. And if it's just two, it's a little bit simpler.
This is true, although sometimes I think it depends on the people that you're sharing a house with. I've had one awkward experience where people did not want to pay ever.
Really?
And they were always late with their payments, and one situation where people were very good about it. So always remembered and were very helpful. So it really depends.
Yeah, I think it's hard to live with someone always, of course. Even, if you start living with your girlfriend or boyfriend or you get married, it's kind of different to live with someone, So, and especially money-wise, I think it always complicates things with people.
Definitely. So I think you're right, though. If there's two people, it's very easy to share the bills. But if there's 5 people or 6 people, it's very hard to find out who spent more money or what the rules are.
Yeah, so it can get a little bit complicated. But I'm sure a lot of our listeners have probably had roommates before, maybe in college, maybe even now. So let's hear those experiences and maybe those good and bad stories about living with other people.
Life with a roommate. Moving in together. Living with a roommate can be an exciting and new experience. When 2 people decide to share a home, they bring their own habits, ideas, and ways of living. At first, everything may feel fresh and interesting. You might be curious about your roommate's life and excited to decorate the space together. Moving in means sharing the same kitchen, bathroom, and living area, so it is important to feel comfortable with each other. When you first move in, it is a good idea to talk about basic things. You can discuss which room each person will take and how to organize common areas. It is helpful to agree on simple rules, like cleaning the apartment or sharing household items. Talking about these things early helps both people feel happy and relaxed. Sometimes, people have different lifestyles. One person may like to wake up early, while the other enjoys staying up late. Some people like quiet spaces, while others enjoy music or talking with friends. Understanding these differences is important. Being kind and open to each other's habits makes life easier. Moving in with a roommate is not just about sharing a place, it is also about building a new relationship. With good communication and respect, it can be a fun and positive experience. Sharing responsibilities. Living with a roommate means sharing not just the space, but also the responsibilities. In any shared home, there are daily tasks that need to be done to keep the place clean and comfortable. These responsibilities can include cleaning, buying household supplies, taking out the trash, and paying bills. When 2 people share a home, it is important to divide these tasks fairly, so that both roommates feel happy and respected. One of the most important responsibilities is keeping the shared areas clean. Spaces like the kitchen, bathroom, and living room are used by both people, so it is fair to share the work. If one person always cleans while the other does nothing, it can cause problems. To avoid this, roommates can make a cleaning schedule. For example, one person can clean the kitchen this week, and the other can clean it next week. Some people prefer to divide the tasks by type. One person might wash the dishes, while the other takes out the trash. It is important to find a system that works for both people and to be flexible when things change. Buying household supplies is another shared responsibility. Items like toilet paper, dish soap, and cleaning products are used by both roommates, so it is fair to share the cost. Some roommates take turns buying these items. Others prefer to split the cost each time they go shopping. It is helpful to talk about who will buy what and to keep a list of things that need to be replaced. This way, both people feel that the costs are shared fairly, and no one feels that they are paying more than the other. Paying bills is also an important responsibility when living with a roommate. Bills can include rent, electricity, water, and internet. It is a good idea to agree on how and when to pay these bills. Some roommates divide the bills equally, while others may pay different amounts if one person uses more of something. It helps to set a clear plan, such as paying the bills on the same day each month. Good communication is key to avoiding misunderstandings about money. When both people know what to expect, it reduces stress and helps maintain a positive living situation. Sometimes things do not go as planned. One person might forget to take out the trash, or the other might not clean the bathroom on time. In these situations, it is important to be patient and understanding. Everyone makes mistakes, and a small problem should not ruin a good roommate relationship. If there is a problem, it is better to talk about it calmly. Being honest and kind when discussing responsibilities helps both roommates feel heard and respected. Sharing responsibilities also means respecting each other's time and space. If one roommate is very busy with work or school, the other person might take on a little more responsibility for a while. Later, when things are easier, the roles can switch. Being flexible and willing to help each other creates a better living environment. It shows that both people care about the shared home and want to keep things fair. When responsibilities are shared fairly, living with a roommate can be a positive experience. It allows both people to feel comfortable and respected in their home. By working together, being patient, and keeping communication open, roommates can enjoy their shared space and build a friendly and supportive relationship. Communication and solving problems. Good communication is one of the most important parts of living with a roommate. When two people share a home, they will have different habits, schedules, and opinions. These differences are normal, but they can sometimes cause misunderstandings or problems. Clear and respectful communication helps prevent these issues and makes living together easier and more enjoyable. At the beginning of the roommate relationship, it is helpful to talk about expectations. Every person has their own way of living, and discussing these things early can avoid confusion later. For example, one person may like to keep the apartment very clean, while the other may not mind a little mess. One roommate may enjoy having friends over often, while the other may prefer a quieter home. If both people share their thoughts and preferences from the start, it is easier to understand each other and make compromises. Being open about your needs and listening to your roommate's needs helps build a positive and respectful environment. Even when roommates communicate well, problems can still happen. One common issue is noise. People have different lifestyles. Some like to play music loudly, while others enjoy a quiet space. Some people go to bed early, while others stay up late watching TV or talking on the phone. If noise becomes a problem, it is best to talk about it calmly and find a solution together. For example, you might agree to use headphones after a certain time or lower the volume when the other person is sleeping. Small adjustments like these can make life easier for both people. Another common problem is sharing personal space and belongings. It is natural for roommates to have their own items, such as food, toiletries, or electronics. To avoid confusion, it helps to agree on what is shared and what is private. Some roommates are comfortable sharing everything, while others prefer to keep their things separate. If you want to use something that belongs to your roommate, it is always polite to ask first. Respecting each other's personal space and belongings shows that you care about your roommate's feelings and helps prevent disagreements. When disagreements happen, the way you handle them is important. It is normal to feel upset when there is a problem, but staying calm and respectful can make the conversation easier. Instead of blaming your roommate, try to explain how you feel. For example, instead of saying, "You never clean the kitchen," you could say, "I feel stressed when the kitchen is messy. Can we find a way to keep it cleaner?" This approach is less aggressive and helps your roommate understand your feelings without feeling attacked. Listening to your roommate's side of the story is also important. They may not realize there is a problem until you talk about it. By being honest and understanding, you can work together to find a solution. Sometimes it is helpful to have regular check-ins. This means setting aside time to talk about how things are going. You could do this once a month or whenever it feels necessary. During these check-ins, you can discuss any small problems before they become big ones. You can also talk about things that are working well. For example, you might appreciate that your roommate always washes the dishes or that they respect your need for quiet time. Positive feedback is just as important as talking about problems because it helps both people feel valued. If a problem is difficult to solve, it may help to write things down. Some roommates make a written agreement or a roommate contract. This document can include things like how to share bills, how to handle cleaning, and what to do if there is a conflict. Having these agreements written down makes expectations clear and gives both people something to refer to if there is confusion. In some cases, despite your best efforts, a problem may not go away. If a disagreement becomes too serious or if communication breaks down, it might help to ask for outside help. Talking to a trusted friend, a counselor, or a building manager can give you new ideas on how to solve the problem. Having an outside perspective may help both people see the situation more clearly and find a fair solution. Good communication is not just about solving problems. It also helps create a positive living environment. Simple gestures like asking how your roommate's day was, leaving a kind note, or offering to help when they are busy can make a big difference. When both people feel heard, respected, and valued, living together becomes easier and more enjoyable. By practicing clear communication, being open to compromise, and handling disagreements calmly, roommates can build a supportive and comfortable home. Small problems are easier to manage when both people are willing to talk and listen. With patience, kindness, and understanding, living with a roommate can be a rewarding and positive experience. Respecting personal space and privacy. When living with a roommate, sharing space is a part of everyday life. You share common areas like the kitchen, bathroom, and living room. But each person also needs their own personal space. Respecting your roommate's privacy is important because it helps both people feel comfortable and safe in their home. Without respect for personal space, misunderstandings and tension can easily grow. Creating a balance between shared and private space is key to a happy roommate relationship. Personal space means more than just having a private bedroom. It also includes emotional space and the freedom to spend time alone when needed. Everyone has moments when they want to be social and times when they want privacy. Some people like to chat after a long day, while others prefer quiet time to relax. Understanding these differences and being respectful of them helps create a peaceful living environment. If your roommate comes home and seems tired or stressed, it is kind to give them space to unwind before starting a conversation. Being aware of their mood and respecting their need for quiet time shows that you value their feelings. It is also important to respect physical boundaries. For example, knocking on your roommate's door before entering is a simple way to show respect. Even if you feel close to your roommate, their bedroom is their private space, and it is polite to ask before going inside. Avoid borrowing or using their personal items without permission, even if you think they wouldn't mind. This applies to things like food, electronics, clothes, and bathroom products. If you want to borrow something, always ask first. When you return it, make sure it is clean and in the same condition as when you borrowed it. Small actions like these build trust and show that you respect their belongings. In shared spaces, it is helpful to create clear boundaries. For example, you can agree on where to keep your individual items. If you share a kitchen, you might want to have separate shelves or areas for your food. This prevents confusion and helps both people keep track of their belongings. In the bathroom, you could agree to store personal products in separate places. If your roommate has guests over, it is polite to give them space in the living area. At the same time, if you invite friends over, it is thoughtful to let your roommate know in advance. Being mindful of how you use shared spaces helps both people feel comfortable and respected. Time is another part of personal space. Everyone has their own routines and schedules. One person might enjoy waking up early to exercise, while the other likes to sleep late. Respecting these routines means being aware of noise and activity at different times of the day. For example, if your roommate is sleeping, it is polite to keep the volume down when watching TV or talking on the phone. If they have an important exam or work deadline, giving them quiet time to focus shows that you respect their needs. In return, when you need peace and quiet, your roommate should offer you the same consideration. Sometimes, respecting personal space means giving each other emotional privacy. Life can be stressful, and everyone goes through difficult times. If your roommate seems upset or wants to be alone, it is kind to respect their emotional boundaries. It is okay to offer support, but pushing them to talk when they are not ready may make them feel uncomfortable. At the same time, if you need privacy to deal with your own feelings, it is fine to let your roommate know. Honest communication about personal needs helps both people feel understood and valued. Digital privacy is also important when living with a roommate. Many people keep personal information on their phones, laptops, and other devices. It is never acceptable to read your roommate's messages, emails, or other private content without permission. If you share an internet connection, be mindful of how you use it. Avoid using too much bandwidth if your roommate is working or studying online. Respecting digital privacy extends to social media as well. Before posting pictures or information about your roommate, ask for their permission. Everyone has different comfort levels with sharing their personal life online. Another important part of respecting personal space is setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the rules that help both people feel comfortable. For example, if you value your alone time in the evenings, you can let your roommate know. If your roommate prefers not to share certain items, it is important to respect that. Boundaries should be clear but flexible. Sometimes, life changes, and it is helpful to revisit and adjust your agreements. When both people understand each other's boundaries, it reduces misunderstandings and makes living together easier. Conflicts about personal space can happen, even when both people try to be respectful. If a problem arises, it is best to talk about it calmly and clearly. Avoid blaming or accusing your roommate. Instead, focus on how you feel and suggest a solution. For example, instead of saying, "You always take my things without asking," you could say, "I feel uncomfortable when my personal items are used without permission. Can we agree to ask each other first?" This kind of communication is respectful and makes it easier to solve problems. Respecting personal space does not mean avoiding your roommate. It is still important to spend time together and build a positive relationship. Sharing meals, watching movies, or simply talking about your day can help strengthen your connection. The goal is to find a balance where both people feel comfortable being themselves while sharing a home. When roommates respect each other's personal space and privacy, it creates a peaceful and positive living environment. It allows both people to feel comfortable, secure, and independent, while enjoying the benefits of living together. By communicating openly, setting clear boundaries, and being thoughtful about each other's needs, roommates can create a home where both people feel respected and valued. Dealing with differences. When two people live together, they bring different habits, lifestyles, and personalities into the shared space. These differences are normal and can even make life more interesting. However, when living with a roommate, differences can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or conflicts. Learning how to manage and accept these differences is essential for creating a peaceful and positive living environment. With patience, clear communication, and mutual respect, it is possible for roommates with different lifestyles to live together happily. One major difference between roommates is their daily routines. People often have different schedules based on work, school, or personal preferences. For example, one roommate might wake up early to exercise or go to work, while the other prefers to sleep late. Some people are night owls who enjoy staying up late, while others are early birds who go to bed early. These differences can cause tension if they are not handled carefully. It is important for both roommates to be aware of each other's schedules and find ways to compromise. If one person needs quiet in the morning, the other can try to move quietly and avoid making loud noises. Similarly, if someone stays up late, they can use headphones or keep the volume low. Small adjustments like these show considerations and can help prevent frustration. Another common difference is cleanliness. People have different ideas about what it means to keep a home clean. Some people are very organized and like everything to be tidy, while others are more relaxed and do not mind a little mess. These differences can cause problems if one roommate feels they are doing all the cleaning while the other does not contribute. To avoid this, it helps to have an honest conversation about cleaning habits and expectations. Roommates can create a cleaning schedule to divide tasks fairly. For example, one person might clean the bathroom while the other takes care of the kitchen. Regularly discussing cleaning responsibilities can help ensure that both people feel the work is shared equally. It is also important to be flexible sometimes. One person might be busier and unable to clean right away. Being patient and understanding in these situations helps maintain a positive relationship. Personal preferences about socializing can also cause differences. Some people enjoy having friends over often, while others prefer a quieter and more private home. It is important to respect each other's social habits and find a balance. If one roommate wants to invite friends over, it is polite to let the other person know in advance. Setting clear guidelines, such as limiting social events to certain times or giving notice before guests arrive, can prevent misunderstandings. If one roommate prefers a quieter environment, the other should respect their need for peace. At the same time, the quieter roommate should also be willing to accept occasional social gatherings. Compromise is key to ensuring that both people feel comfortable. Cultural differences can also play a role when living with a roommate. People from different cultures may have unique ways of cooking, celebrating holidays, or expressing themselves. For example, one person might cook meals with strong smells, while the other is not used to those scents. Another person might enjoy playing traditional music or practicing religious customs at home. Instead of viewing these differences as problems, roommates can treat them as opportunities to learn from each other. Being curious and open-minded helps build mutual respect. If something feels unfamiliar or uncomfortable, it is best to ask questions in a respectful way. By embracing each other's cultures, roommates can create a richer and more welcoming home environment. Differences in spending habits may also cause tension between roommates. Some people are careful with money and prefer to save, while others are more comfortable spending freely. These habits can affect shared expenses like groceries, utilities, and rent. It is important to agree on how to handle shared costs and stick to the plan. For example, roommates might decide to split bills equally or take turns buying common household items. Being transparent about financial expectations helps prevent misunderstandings. If a problem arises, it is best to discuss it calmly and find a fair solution. Communication styles can also vary between roommates. Some people are direct and express their feelings openly, while others are quieter and avoid conflict. Miscommunication can happen if these differences are not acknowledged. For example, one person might feel upset but not say anything, while the other does not realize there is a problem. To avoid misunderstandings, both roommates should make an effort to communicate clearly and listen to each other. Regular check-ins can be helpful. A simple conversation about how things are going can prevent small issues from becoming bigger problems. When disagreements occur, it is important to speak calmly and focus on finding solutions, rather than placing blame. Personal habits, such as how people use common areas, can also differ. One roommate might leave shoes at the door, while the other walks through the apartment with their shoes on. Some people enjoy cooking elaborate meals, while others prefer quick snacks. These everyday habits may seem small, but they can cause tension if not discussed. It is helpful to talk about preferences and agree on basic rules for shared spaces. For example, roommates can decide together whether shoes should be removed at the door or if certain kitchen appliances should be shared. Being willing to compromise on small things can prevent bigger conflicts later. Dealing with differences also requires patience and empathy. It is easy to become frustrated when someone does things differently, but it is important to remember that everyone has their own way of living. Instead of assuming that your roommate's habits are wrong, try to understand their perspective. Being patient and willing to compromise helps create a positive environment. If a disagreement becomes too difficult to solve on your own, it may help to seek outside support. Talking to a neutral third party, like a mutual friend or a housing manager, can provide new insights and help resolve the issue fairly. Despite the challenges, living with someone who is different from you can be rewarding. Differences can lead to new experiences, friendships, and personal growth. Roommates can learn from each other's strengths and develop new ways of thinking. By embracing differences rather than fighting against them, both people can create a harmonious and supportive home. When roommates communicate openly, respect each other's habits, and show flexibility, differences become easier to manage. No two people are exactly the same, but by working together and being considerate, it is possible to build a happy and peaceful living environment. Differences can be a source of frustration, but they can also be a chance to grow, learn, and develop a stronger connection with your roommate. Building a positive and supportive relationship. Living with a roommate is more than just sharing space. It is also about building a relationship that is respectful, supportive, and positive. When two people live together, they become a part of each other's daily lives. A healthy roommate relationship can make life easier, more enjoyable, and less stressful. While sharing a home comes with challenges, taking steps to build a positive connection can lead to a rewarding and lasting relationship. With kindness, open communication, and mutual support, roommates can create a living environment where both people feel happy and comfortable. One of the most important ways to build a positive relationship is through open and honest communication. Clear communication helps prevent misunderstandings and makes it easier to solve problems when they arise. It is helpful to check in with your roommate regularly to discuss how things are going. These conversations do not need to be formal. They can be as simple as asking, "Is everything working well for you?" Or "Is there anything you would like to change?" These small check-ins give both people a chance to express their feelings and address any concerns before they become bigger issues. When both people feel heard and understood, it strengthens trust and creates a healthier living environment. Showing kindness and consideration also plays a big role in creating a positive relationship. Simple gestures, like offering to help with chores, sharing a meal, or asking how your roommate's day was, can make a big difference. These small acts of kindness show that you care and value the other person's presence. If your roommate is having a difficult day, offering a kind word or a listening ear can provide emotional support. Thoughtfulness can go a long way in making both people feel more comfortable and appreciated. When kindness is a regular part of the relationship, the home becomes a warmer and more welcoming place. Another important part of building a positive relationship is respecting boundaries. Everyone needs personal space and time alone. Even if you and your roommate get along well, it is important to respect each other's privacy. This means knocking on closed doors, asking before borrowing personal items, and giving each other quiet time when needed. If your roommate is studying, resting, or dealing with a personal issue, it is kind to give them the space they need. By respecting each other's boundaries, you create an environment where both people can feel safe and comfortable. Sharing responsibilities fairly is another way to maintain a supportive relationship. In a shared home, both people should contribute to household tasks like cleaning, paying bills, and buying common items. If one person feels they are doing more work than the other, resentment can build. To prevent this, it is helpful to agree on how to divide responsibilities. Some roommates prefer to make a cleaning schedule or take turns handling specific tasks. Others may agree to share tasks informally. What matters most is that both people feel the arrangement is fair. When roommates work together to keep the home clean and organized, it strengthens the feeling of teamwork and cooperation. Spending quality time together can also help build a stronger connection. While it is important to respect each other's privacy, sharing positive experiences helps create a sense of community. You do not need to be best friends with your roommate, but spending time together occasionally can improve your relationship. You might choose to watch a movie, cook dinner together, or play a game. These shared experiences can create positive memories and make living together more enjoyable. Quality time helps both people see each other as individuals rather than just people who share the same space. At the same time, it is equally important to respect differences and accept that you and your roommate may have unique habits and lifestyles. You might have different tastes in music, food, or hobbies. Your roommate may come from a different cultural background or have a different personality. Instead of seeing these differences as problems, try to view them as opportunities to learn and grow. Being open-minded and accepting of your roommate's way of life helps create a more inclusive and harmonious home. By appreciating what makes each person unique, you can build a relationship based on mutual respect. When disagreements happen, as they sometimes will, it is essential to handle conflicts calmly and respectfully. No matter how well you get along, there may be times when you and your roommate disagree about something. When conflict arises, try to address the issue directly rather than avoiding it. Speak calmly and focus on the problem rather than blaming the other person. For example, instead of saying, "You never do the dishes," you could say, "I feel frustrated when the dishes pile up. Can we figure out a way to keep the kitchen clean?" This kind of language is less confrontational and makes it easier to find a solution. Listening to your roommate's perspective with an open mind is also important. By being patient and respectful, most conflicts can be resolved peacefully. A positive roommate relationship also involves being flexible and understanding. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes unexpected situations arise. For example, one person may need extra quiet time to study for an exam, or someone may have a family emergency and need emotional support. Being willing to adjust and show understanding during these times helps build trust. When you are supportive during challenging moments, your roommate is more likely to return the favor when you need help. Flexibility helps maintain a sense of balance and cooperation. Celebrating each other's successes is another way to foster a supportive environment. If your roommate gets a new job, passes an important exam, or reaches a personal goal, recognizing their achievement shows that you care. You might congratulate them with a kind message, a small gift, or a simple celebration. Sharing joy in each other's accomplishments helps strengthen your bond and makes the living environment more positive. When both people feel supported and valued, they are more likely to invest in maintaining a good relationship. Finally, building a positive and supportive relationship with your roommate requires patience and time. Strong relationships do not develop overnight. They grow through everyday interactions, shared experiences, and mutual effort. Even if things are not perfect at first, being patient and committed to improving your relationship can lead to positive change. Each person's willingness to communicate, compromise, and show kindness shapes the atmosphere of the home. In the end, living with a roommate can be a rewarding experience when both people make an effort to create a respectful and caring environment. By communicating openly, respecting boundaries, sharing responsibilities, and supporting each other, roommates can build a relationship that is positive and fulfilling. With understanding and patience, two people can transform a shared space into a place where both feel valued and at home.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
A document that shows how much you must pay. Bill. Divide equally. Go halves. To vacate a residence, cause to leave. Move out. What I am trying to say. What I am getting at. Much more or a lot more. Way more.
Let's try that faster.
A document that shows how much you must pay. Bill. To vacate a residence, cause to leave. Move out. Much more or a lot more. Way more. What I am trying to say. What I am getting at. Divide equally. Go halves.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Bill. I paid the gas bill and water bill this morning. Bill. I am overwhelmed with bills. I don't know where I will get the money to pay them all. Bill. My girlfriend always takes care of paying the bills. What I am getting at. What are you getting at? Are you saying I'm lazy? What I am getting at. I don't understand what you're getting at. Be more direct. What I am getting at. What do you think he's getting at? I have no idea what he's talking about. Way more. This dress costs way more than I expected. Way more. This flight is taking away more time than it should. I think we are lost. Way more. Carl is way more mature than you. Go halves. How about we go halves on the dinner bill? Go halves. Let's take a taxi together and go halves. Go halves. I am willing to go halves with you for this cake if you share your milk with me. Move out. I have to move out of my apartment this weekend. Move out. Carol just moved out of her boyfriend's house, so she's living with me for a while. Move out. I told my landlord I will move out by the end of the month.